Oh, yes, that's from the soundtrack Nawahala, and the title song is called This Is My Life. And I want to welcome you to another edition of Empowerment Radio. In this business, we're in the business of empowering all. But today I have a special guest joining us from Lacey, Washington as Coach Baker, lovingly called Coach Donald Baker. Is passionate about helping people age gracefully and combat preventable conditions. Coach Baker has 50 years of experience in health industry with a focus in nutrition, strength training, and sustaining healthy physiological systems. Coach Baker pursued his education at the Concordia University, where he received a Bachelor's of Science in Physical Education with a biology minor. Coach Baker is certified strength trainer. Coach Baker has a certified strength trainer, strength conditioning, and specialized in so many others. And also, actually, Baker completed training from the Biotic Research Northwest on the efficiency of glandular use. Today, Coach Baker joins us from Lacey, Washington. Welcome, Mr. Baker.
Good afternoon, Tunde. Good afternoon, listeners. I trust all is well. Today's topic, we're going to talk about stress.
Yes.
We're going to talk about stress. We are all dealing with stress. You know, this COVID-19 thing, people view it as stressful. Our regular day-to-day jobs, you know, maybe even money is a stress in our lives. Relationships, stressful. So we're going to dig deep and talk about what stress is and get a good handle on how we can work it and work through it. Anti-aging, what is a good definition?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is...
It's a good definition. What we are doing at the Academy is to exploit various lifestyle tools to manipulate the genetic expression of your youthful physiology. Okay? Manipulate your youthful physiology. You have it, it's available, and through proper exercise, proper nutrition, we can get the physiology to pretend to feel more young. And this is what the Anti-Aging Academy does. I want to talk about stress. Stress is a double-edged sword. What does it mean, double-edged sword? Well, it means that there is a positive, there is a negative. It means something that you want to work carefully and cautiously with. So stress is defined as pressure, maybe strain, or even the perception of trouble. That's what stress is. It really became very, very popular, the word, when a Canadian and Hungarian scientist, this guy's an endocrinologist, coined the term stress, and he coined the general adaptation syndrome. This is how you look at stress. It is a general adaptation syndrome. Now, when I say syndrome, boy, it almost sounds like there could be a little bit of trouble. And in actuality, that's why we're talking about stress today, because there can be a long-term effect, and we want to try to avoid some of the trouble and stay out of that syndrome issue. So, three basic phases of stress.
Hold on. One quick question, Coach. I know if I let you take the train, I will never get
you
on board.
You almost let me have it. Go.
Okay,
go ahead.
Quickly. First of all, adjust your cable is rubbing against your microphone. So bring your microphone up to your lip, so that way we're not. Because anytime you spoke, it was just rubbing, and something like that. So that way it's not. There you go. Quickly,
that must
because
be better.
That was stressing me out.
Well,
but tell me, you see, I'm a mechanic. When you say stress, that's just a word for me, even being an English word. What is actually taking place when one is stressed? There's a difference between when you're challenged and you're determined, you're ready to go. Then how does that become when you say you're stressed? What is actually taking place inside you?
So I like this question. Inside, there is something going on that says there is an alarm. You know, if you're actually in stress, an alarm goes off that says, I need to make a change. in order to be successful in this situation. Something is really challenging you on a physiological level, and there's a big alarm. And so that is really how you determine stress. Everything else really falls short of stress. Like you said, challenge is fine. In fact, many people have used stress and challenge in a similar way, and we understand challenge is something that we can certainly overcome if the stress or if the challenge is not too big. But in a global scale, the three phases of stress, you have alarm, then you have resistance. Okay, the resistance is where you make adjustments, and ultimately we have to be agile and ready to make an adjustment to any stressor. If we are not successful in making that adjustment, you have exhaustion. Alarm, resistance, exhaustion. Exhaustion means failure. It basically means the organism dies. So those are the three phases of stress, and that's how you map out the general adaptation syndrome. So then we understand exercise. When we exercise, we actually ask the body to go under a particular amount of stress, but it is a prescription.
I want to take it step by step. Coach, you are so aware of this thing. Some of us, I just have to take it step by step for those of us who don't understand. And I appreciate you being your anti-aging. In the intro, you talk about manipulating what you do in anti-aging. Tell me a little bit more about your anti-aging academy. We'll get there. I want to do on this slow train to get there so I don't get stressed out too. So just take it step by step for me. What do you do at anti-aging? You talk about manipulating something to resolve something. Is that how one stop aging? Because I want to manipulate quite a bit right now.
Okay, I will try to back up because that's a very good point. So what we are doing is manipulating the physiology so that your body will start to remember what it's felt like to be in your middle and late teens, maybe even in the 20s. How do you do that manipulation? What was your body going through when you were a teenager? Okay, I will ask you that question. How tall were you when you were 13 years of age? Let me ask that question.
Maybe I think I was about maybe 5'2", 5'3".
Sure. Okay. By the time you were 20, what was your height?
About 6'1".
So, what's happening between 13 and 20 for almost all teenagers is there is a physiological, there's a hormonal response that is causing the body to do what? It's causing the body to grow. It's causing the body to become anabolic. When we say growing, we're talking about anabolism. So your body is actually in a position to repair itself very, very fast. And it's repairing and growing, becoming stronger. Okay? Under those conditions, when the body is becoming stronger, like a youngster, there are no diseases of aging. Okay? And so what we do at the Anti-Aging Academy is we help you to remember, we help you to mimic that anabolic response. Okay, so how do you do that? Okay, well, you first have to have a stimulus. When you're young, the stimulus is a hormonal stimulus. Okay, and when we are past 30 or past 40, we still have the ability to manipulate those hormones, but we have to do it more aggressively, and that is where exercise comes in. Exercise is now the stimulus to make those hormones remember how to become stimulated, and so that we can cause more protein synthesis. If you can stimulate hormones that make the body want to repair itself, now you're starting to dig into what the Anti-Aging Academy is all about. Okay, this growth and repair. Okay, when the body is repairing and growing, it feels like it is young. It feels like it is ready to take on the world.
Then thank you, Coach. You're leading me real good, and I'm loving it. I think I'm facing a stressless world in a few days. But quickly, what I understand about stress, you talked about an alarm, you talk about resistance, you talk about exhaustion. All of those seems like a mental thing. What has that got to do with my body? You're talking about exercise. You begin to introduce me to that, but is it a physical exercise or mental exercise? What has my body? Can you tell me the mind and body connection? Why what happens in my mind tend to affect my body, and how exercise then, since you want to go into that, takes care of that?
Well, you say that I am leading you. You are leading me. It's a very good.
I
So,
love it.
by the time a person, finishes high school, finishes college, mostly they settle in to a sedentary kind of a job. Prior to that, hopefully, and I will ask you, did you do athletics as a youngster?
I still do, but yes, as
I
a
still,
youngster, it
you did
was.
as a youngster. You still do. I like the sensor. I still do. So many people, they, once they graduate, they settle into mostly a sedentary type job.
Mm,
Okay. On those sedentary jobs, what tends to happen now, the body is no longer stimulated to grow. It's no longer stimulated to remain active. And so there can be a muscular tension that tends to settle in. If you have a job where you are at a desk, many people have a sore neck. Many people have tight shoulders. Okay. So you lead me very well. When we talk about this mind to muscle connection, um, in the body, there are three different types of muscles. There are three different types of muscles in the body. I want to talk about them. First, you have your most important muscle, people say, the heart. Cardiac muscle is specific to itself. It's the only place where you have cardiac muscle. Okay? You have smooth muscle.
mm,
Smooth muscle is the digestive system. Okay? Those muscles and the cardiac muscle, they work all by themselves. They are under automatic or autonomic control. The third muscle type, the one we typically think of, skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are voluntarily contracted. So if you have a job that is sedentary in nature, and let's say you have tight shoulders. Have you ever walked by one of your colleagues? You notice the shoulders are drawn up and kind of tight. Okay, that is a voluntary response. However, you do it for long periods of time. What happens? Muscular tension. Okay,
mm.
so we need to get back in control of the muscles that we are in control of. Those voluntary muscles should not be tense. Okay, we need to voluntarily relax them when they should be relaxed, and we need to voluntarily contract them through exercise. But muscular tension, low back pain from bad posture, shrugged shoulders when your shoulders should not be shrugged. Okay, that translates into long-term tension, and that long-term tension is what a lot of people end up calling stress. But what we are saying is they voluntarily cause that. So we need to separate out what that muscular tension is and make sure this is where the mind to muscle connection is. This is where the body and the mind actually cooperate with one another. We need to remember to do it. Now, I hope that answers that question for you.
Very eloquently well said, my brother. I love it. Even as you were explaining that, I realized that my shoulder was a little. So, just following through. It just depends on who's leading who here. Just following through. I found myself a little bit more relaxed already.
I
But
would like all of the listeners, anyone who is listening right now, if you have tight shoulders right now, I want you to just take a deep breath and voluntarily let those shoulders, they should fall. Let them fall nice, easy, into a relax. And you need to remember to do that on a regular basis, every 15 minutes, every half an hour. Uh, this is the mind-body connection, and you are in control. Go ahead.
so,
Yes, go
so
ahead.
in other words, we can actually enhance our stress level by cooperating with, or mindlessly just cooperating with, maybe anxiety and all of that stressor and tensor. Is that what I'm hearing you say? That is, you think it and you act it.
There's no better way to say it. You think it, and it does and can come into being. So yes, we are definitely in control, and this is where the mind does control the body. But please remember, folks, the body also sends messages back to the mind, and so it is a two-way street. Very important to remember. It's a two-way street.
Before I even go into that, then tell me, how does Anti-Aging Academy, before I go to, because I know nutrition is about this and all, how does Anti-Aging Academy help one? Say, I come to you. How do we even find you anyway?
Okay. My website is antiagingacademy.us. I can receive an email at coach@antiagingacademy.us. Either way, love to talk to your listeners, love to talk to you.
Antiagingacademy.us.
And coach@antiagingacademy.us.
And that's your email. All right,
That
so
is
that's
email.
www.antiagingacademy.us or email directly to coach@antiagingacademy.us. You may be getting an email from me, Coach.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
You say you still exercise. You say you exercise as a teenager?
Yes. Your line froze. Okay, go ahead. You ask the question again because for one moment your line froze. Go ahead. Say that.
So the question is, you exercise as a youngster, and you exercise still today.
Correct.
How many times a week?
I religiously say my physical exercise is a 24-hour thing, but
Wow.
I do spend at least 1 hour a day.
Every day.
Just about every day, and in different forms.
Okay, so let me ask you that. I want to interrupt you.
Yes.
If you do not exercise every day, if you miss 3 days, what is the response? How do you feel?
Oh, I feel stiff and dry. Then my age really start telling.
You feel stiff.
I feel very stiff. And
Okay.
actually, even at the office, while sometimes I receive a phone call, and these crazy people just tell me, speak language I don't understand, and tell me devices that I don't even know what they are, but I'm supposed to come fix it. I take a deep breath and start jumping. On the spot.
On the spot.
I call it the Maasai warrior exercise. On the spot.
So you understand that if you exercise on a daily basis, okay,
Yes.
you have an automatic stress reduction. I want the listeners to think, if they were exercising even 20 minutes on a daily basis, can you remember how good it feels to relieve that muscular tension? Sometimes the tension is there. We are built to move. We need to move in a direct and a deliberate way. A lot of muscular tension will go away just from involving yourself in a regular exercise program. Now, since you're going to I will tell you, if you ask me my bias, I am very biased towards strength training, because when you exercise with weights and do strength training, you're actually stretching and massaging all of the muscles of your body.
Okay.
What a great way to relieve the stress.
Yes.
Okay? Another thing, massage is a great way to relieve physical stress, because there is tension. The muscles do tend to remain a little bit tight. Massage is good. And let's go a little bit further. Meditation. Do your listeners meditate? I'm sure some of them meditate. Okay.
Coach, before you even go into what is meditation? We're not talking about medication now, folks. We're not talking about ganja now. We're not talking about aspirin and all the others. We're talking about meditation. Okay, so before you go say, hey, he talks about No. Talk to me, Coach. What is meditation?
Meditation. So the human body has a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. Okay?
Repeat that?
Yeah. Human body has a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. Okay? Sympathetic nervous system is the one that gets us ready to fight or flee. Okay? The parasympathetic nervous system balances out. It helps us to respond correctly and learn to relax. When you meditate, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. The body begins to relax and come out of this tense state. So let's back up a little bit. Okay, in the sympathetic nervous system, there is extra adrenaline. There's the heartbeat goes up. The breathing rate goes up. Muscular tension is higher. This is all called sympathetic nervous system. It's the fight or flight. People will get stuck in that fight or flight. We have to learn to unwind. So meditation is a great way to pull back, activate the parasympathetic nervous system. How do you do it? Well, meditation is mostly about learning to breathe. And I will say this for all of your listeners. I did it last night. Anytime I am not able to sleep or get back to sleep correctly, I follow this 4-5-6 rhythm of breathing. 4-5-6 rhythm of breathing. Here's how it works. You breathe in deeply through your nose, takes you 4 seconds. You hold your breath for 5 seconds. You exhale for 6 seconds. The magic is in that 6-second or 6-second exhalation. Okay, when the exhalation is longer than the inhalation, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Now the body begins to calm down. Much of meditation is just paying attention to your breathing.
Wow.
So for me, if I'm having trouble sleeping and we get up in the middle of the night, I get a drink of water, lay back down, and I want to go back to sleep just like a teenager would. But sometimes it's not so easy. I automatically practice 4, 5, 6. I want your listeners to think about that. If you have trouble sleeping, you breathe in through the nose for 4 seconds. You hold for 5 seconds. You slowly exhale for 6 seconds. And you just repeat. If you have trouble going to sleep, this puts you right back into a relaxed state, and you wake up in the morning and you feel wonderful. It's a great way to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This costs you nothing. This is free for all of my listeners. I want you to just use this because it's a very, very powerful tool. Now, one more thing before Tunde interrupts me, because I know he will. Because I know he will. Okay. Another thing, you must understand, if we're going to get rest, just like a teenager, we are not teenagers anymore. So you have to work at it. There are many things you can do. This last thing I want to talk about physically you can do to get good rest. Take 15 or 20 minutes. Don't wait until you're just falling asleep at your table, but take 15 or 20 minutes, get on the floor, and I want you to do static stretching. I want you to stretch your lower back. Statically stretch the hamstrings. And while you do it, you're still using some of those same breathing techniques. You're going to breathe really in a relaxed way. I guarantee if you spend 15 or 20 minutes every night before you go to bed, watch how much more restful you will be when you wake up in the morning, and you fall asleep much more easily. Sometimes the muscular tension, the physical tension in the muscles simply needs to be released. Stretch 15 or 20 minutes prior to bed. So yeah, you have to work at it. So sorry. You're not 17 anymore, but it pays big dividends if you just do some of these techniques. So again, you have voluntary muscles. Those voluntary muscles, we have to relax them on a regular basis. Learn to relax tense shoulders. If you have trouble sleeping, use 4, 5, 6. It's a form of meditation before you go to sleep. And if you actually want to really go pretty far, take 15 or 20 minutes, get on the floor with your yoga mat or on the rug, stretch your hamstrings, stretch your lower back. Practice relaxing before you even get to bed. It's magic. Watch what happens. You'll love it. Tunde, I want you to try it.
Wow. Yes. Honestly, I think for me, sometimes when I'm so, I think what I got from this is I need to be deliberate in my breathing. Is that what
mindful of your breathing? Absolutely.
Mindful. Because I have noticed that occasionally, most especially even with these times we're all locked in and you were thinking about this COVID and a few other things, then it occurs to me that I'm feeling stressed. Then I realize I've been holding my breath. Is that a natural phenomenon?
It's natural, but we need to make it more natural to breathe. And before we leave this physical side of breathing and talking about physical manifestations, I talked to a client recently. This person deals with asthma. And I said, many people need to be taught how to breathe. And you say, what? Taught how to breathe? I will ask you this, Tunde. Have you ever taken this class CPR? Have you taken CPR class?
I have taken CPR class.
Have you taken it recently?
Not recently, about maybe 8-9 years ago.
Okay, so I want everybody, the listeners, Tunde, to remember, if you have to use CPR, who do you use it on probably? Your family members.
Family members, yes.
Probably family members. Here, talk about this. If you take CPR class, the good instructor will tell you, if you're giving breaths into the person's mouth, you put your head down sideways and you have to look to see if their belly moves. The chest should not move. Okay? We have to learn to breathe with the belly. That's where the
Mm.
diaphragm is actually working. So when I say that we need to learn to remember how to breathe, this is what I'm saying. When you breathe, you have to breathe and physically move your diaphragm. Your stomach will move. It is not breathing up in the chest. The belly needs to move. And now suddenly we can get more air in and out of the lungs, just remembering how to breathe correctly.
Interesting. Then you talked about hormones earlier. Before I go
Yes.
into nutrition, what has hormonal balance and hormonal imbalance have to do with your stress level, how well you stress, how healthy you are, and what can be done to balance it?
Okay, so a very good question. Your stress hormones in the fight or flight situation, the initial one is called adrenaline. I mentioned before, adrenaline is what gets you fired up. You your eyes quicken, okay? The muscles tense, heartbeat goes up. You know, if you like scary movies or action movies, your adrenaline is kicking in. However, for the long term, your cortisol levels can also rise, and they remain. The cortisol remains in your bloodstream for a longer period of time. Both hormones are produced in the adrenals. The adrenals are small glands on top of the kidneys. So these are called the stress hormones. Cortisol gets an awful lot of press because it's long term, and people are feeling anxious as a result of having high cortisol levels. Some of the things we talked about previous can reduce cortisol. However, there are some neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are simply the chemicals the brain and the body uses to communicate one another. We need to learn to activate and deactivate with proper neurotransmitters. So, in terms of stress, there are some things called phenylalanine, L-tyrosine. These are very excitatory neurotransmitters. If they remain too active, then the body remains stressed. So we need to engage things like GABA. GABA is a very relaxing hormone. We need to engage tryptophan, serotonin. These things calm the body down. These neurotransmitters, that's how the body communicates. Where do they come from? How are they? How do you find these neurotransmitters? Glad you asked. All of the things I mentioned are produced from particular amino acids. Amino acids are protein fragments. So, in direct answering to your question, we want to make sure that no one is deficient in neurotransmitters, therefore not deficient in protein. So that is how the brain and the body communicates is with these neurotransmitters. We want to make sure nutritionally that you are not deficient in any wonderful substances.
When you say nutritionally, I will say this. For a very long time, our goal was you're hungry, you fill your stomach. What you fill your stomach with, it didn't matter at all. As long as, well, like we say back home, I belly full. So, what is nutrition? What are the key things you will need when you say somebody have a nutritionally balanced meal? What role does nutrition play in any stress?
Well, it can manifest with swings in blood sugar.
Mm.
So if the belly is full for the short term, that is good. But the composition of the meal really matters for the long term. If you're going to go for 3 or 4 or even 5 hours without eating, you must understand that that previous meal must sustain you for a long enough period of time. You're going to have blood sugar swings if your diet was very high in starchy, overly processed, sugar laden type things. Oh boy, blood sugar swings. This concept of being hangry, hungry, and angry at the same time, that's really probably a blood sugar issue. So we have to balance. We have to balance each meal so that you can actually get from meal to meal and feel very stable. Otherwise, being sleepy or being angry or being stressed or gaining more weight than you think you should gain is often a result of eating sugary, starchy, protein deficient, unbalanced meals. So these blood sugar swings are very important to address. You asked the question. So meal timing, the meal timing very important. Right now, I'm down from 5 or 6 meals to maybe three or four, 3 or 4 meals per day. But again, my approach has been in the past to be a big, strong bodybuilder. Now my approach is anti-aging, and anti-aging means eating a little bit less, but still addressing all of the nutritional needs and filling all of the gaps so that longevity can be a real possibility for my physiology. Yeah, nourishment, nutrition, very good.
Can one do with complete exercise and poor nutrition, or or good nutrition and great exercise, or do they go together?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, and I think it can happen. You can have good nutrition and no exercise, or you can have a lot of exercise and poor nutrition about the age of 25. After that, after that, you should probably consider that both are very, very important. After the age of 25 or 30, your best ammunition is proper nutrition and proper exercise. And I want people to understand, is it a little bit of work? It's a little bit of work, but I consider it fun. It's not overwhelming. You don't have to run a marathon. I know I've heard that there's a rumor that Mr. Obaze can do a marathon. You don't have to run marathon. Okay, you don't have to have perfect meal all the time, but it needs to be on your mind. On a daily basis, you want to make sure to address your protein needs, your fat needs, your carbohydrate needs, your hydration needs daily. And exercise, boy, if you can exercise daily, it's fine. If you can exercise 4 days a week, magic happens to your stress levels.
Is there anything like over exercising? Is there anything like that?
There are some guys from some time ago said there's no such thing as overtraining, just under eating. So if you can provide enough nourishment, the body can take care of most exercise. Most people are not going to exercise too much, but to answer your question, yes, people can exercise too much. But what it means is they're exercising more than they can nourish themselves and more than the body has time to recover from and repair with a nightly resting phase. So to answer your question directly, yes, it's a balancing act, always balancing nutrition, exercise, rest.
During this COVID lockdown, and that we find ourselves still all around the world, the global epidemic, and a lot of people are now locked in, less physical activities, maybe very over nutrition because they are at home with the refrigerator real next close by every day, family members not visiting, and that I can easily guess that will lead to some kind of stress. And if that is, what do you recommend for people locked in?
First off, let's understand COVID-19. We should not be locked in. We understand, and we should understand, if you're outside and you keep a proper distance from the general public, outside is a very safe thing to do, and we should be outside. We want to expose ourselves to fresh air. We want to expose ourselves to some sunlight, and it's not really arguable. We understand that COVID-19, any virus, does not do very well in the sunlight. So outside is a very good thing to do, and we want to take advantage of being able to walk. Social distance, keep a little distance from the next person, yes. If somebody is sneezing and coughing, walk the other direction. But otherwise, no, we should not be locked in. We simply need to be more astute and just more careful. So regular walking, get some outside air, it's good. And if you are, and especially the elderly people, if you are kind of locked in, and even if you're not, I would like everybody to take just a moment and think about their many blessings. If you start to feel closed in, you may actually be moving in that direction mentally, but stop and take a break. Ask yourself, what are the things that I'm really, what are the things that are really blessing me? And on a daily basis, we need to take a look, examine how our life really is. It's a very good life. It's different right now, but we have many blessings. And there are always people that can use your help. Even if you think that you are stressed, one of the best stress reducers is to offer your help to someone else. So those people can use, they can use your help, and suddenly what happens for you? You have more relaxing time. You are now less stressed. So volunteer your time, help your family, help your friends, and take time to laugh. Take time to laugh.
And other than, I know we're talking about stress today, but I just didn't want to forget asking, what other services can listeners gain by affiliating or reaching out to Anti-Aging Academy? What, I know you talked about strength training, although we're talking about stress today, but I just didn't want to go past not really exploring all what Anti-Aging Academy offers before we move on, continuing to the subject.
There is, the list is long. I encourage everybody to visit the website. It's a wonderful website, antiagingacademy.us. Strength training is a very important part of what we do. Also, endurance training. There is a proper way to do your endurance training so that you can lose only body fat. It's important not to lose your muscle. Indiscriminate weight loss is a mistake. And many people in the United States just feel like, if I only lost 30 pounds, I will be so much healthier. Well, if you have 30 pounds to lose, there is a correct way to do it. And indiscriminate weight loss without proper nutrition, without proper exercise, it is likely that you're going to end up just a smaller version and still unhealthy. So there is a correct way to lose body fat. We do this at the Anti-Aging Academy. Correct strength training, proper nutrition, proper meal timing, understanding which supplements the body actually needs. And we do that by offering a blood test. Okay, so to take supplements willy-nilly, I think this is a thing of the past. If you take a basic vitamin and mineral, it's good, but there may be some holes or some gaps to fill in, and a blood test will indicate that, nutritionally, we can help this particular gland or these tissues with specialized nutritional supplements. The Anti-Aging Academy has an account with Biotics Research Northwest, and they have a blood chemistry specialist. They analyze your blood, analyze the results of the blood test, recommend very specific nutrition. The day of just going to the health food store, I think it's beyond us now. We have to be a lot more specific and really learn to address what may be ailing us, so that there are no surprises. If you are borderline diabetic, you should know that, and it should not sneak up on you. If there are immune challenges, and your blood work will show that, maybe the white blood cells, or maybe these particular blood components are looking suspect. You have to support those things. Nothing should sneak up on you. That should be stressful, to have no knowledge of what's going on and to only wish to be lucky that you're going to be healthy the rest of your life. It's not a lucky game. This is about planning. It's about being deliberate. This is Tunde's word. Yeah, be more deliberate about your health. So many services. Please visit the website, antiagingacademy.us. Many tabs, very many layers. It's a wonderful site, very well put together. Very happy about it.
What I just heard you say, I'm a mechanic. I also fix computers.
Can you work on my car?
But yes, I can work on your car. But you see, you're a very wise man. You see, but I think what I heard you say, because while you were speaking and we were talking about, I read up on the Anti-Aging Academy, the question I was asking myself, if I can jump around and exercise, why do I need a coach? But what I'm hearing from you is like, choosing to represent yourself in court is like taking a bad lawyer for a representative. Or trying to fix your car under the shade when you know your car needs to go to the shop is taking your life in your hands. So, in other words, I'm trying to fix myself by just analyzing my own blood by myself without asking for a coach, somebody who studied and know how I may be doing something different. Is that what I'm hearing? So, because what I'm actually saying, why do I need a coach? Why do I need anti-aging? Why do I need you?
I will tell you, this is a very good question, and I've had this opinion, and I've been saying it for a long time. Even a coach needs a good coach. Every coach understands that he or she needs a coach. So I am very critical. I watch people exercise, and I'm very demanding about executing correctly. And it's difficult to do that for yourself. I always, if I'm getting very serious, I will ask someone to watch me. Please watch me. I want to know that I'm doing this exercise correctly. Tell me if I'm deviating from the ideal position. Mostly this is about positioning. Just to push yourself. Many people can embrace the hard work and pushing, but there is a correct way, and there is a right amount of pushing, and there's a right time. So your observation is a very good one. That it's not a willy-nilly program. I do not trust my car to just the neighbor. I want a mechanic to work on my car, and preferably the same one that I trust. There are some people that you should pay really well. I read a book some time ago. I think it's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You heard this book?
Yes, I've heard about it, but no, I've not read it.
I read it. It's a good book. There are some people you should pay very well. Your attorney should get paid well. Your doctor should get paid well. Okay. Your mechanic should be paid well. These are relationships that you can't afford to skimp on. Your strength and conditioning coach should get paid well. These are not things that you do on your own. Whatever is your specialty, then you deserve to be paid correctly for it.
But coach,
just jumping around, that's not exercising. Jumping around is jumping around.
But coach, you're telling me, come on. Look at, I think they say know your audience. You look at our priority. When we want to buy a fancy car, we'll go to a mechanic to check it out. When we want to buy any junk, we look for expert to help us out. But when it comes to our health, our family, even when some of us are looking for a spouse, we first of all go to a bar, go drink a beer. So everything that we see looks good. So, how do we change the mindset of people saying, you see, we talk about you looking, in reggae music, we say, you're looking good from afar, but you're far from being good.
Ooh.
So I see all this Victoria's Secret and Slim and all these people, but they are walking around, and if you just blow on them and they drop on their face. What is your recommendation for managing health, managing stress, on a daily basis according to Anti-Aging Academy? What is your, without giving away your trade, because we would like to have it for free?
The direct answer to your question is for every listener to go ahead and visit nursing home. Go ahead and visit old folks home, because your parents are, they may be there. If they are not, they are probably headed there. You are not there, and most of you feel invincible. This is not me. Well, you know what? Without some deliberate care for your nutrition and for your exercise and for your resting habits, without deliberate care, then it's likely most of us will end up, or many people, I say most of us, I take it back, not us, because it is not me. Okay? Many people will end up more dependent on someone else to take care of them. The Anti-Aging Academy wants to produce an individual who can remain independent for as long as possible. So, yeah, the best thing, go to look at people who have not taken good care of themselves. I just had my house painted, and the young man appears to be a good painter, and I can tell, I shook his hand and going, oh, you have done athletics. So we had something in common. We were both wrestlers, and we talk a little wrestling talk. and he says he smokes and he hates it.
Mm.
He says, I smoke and I hate it. I'm going, wow, you know what? It's not too early. I have a program for you. We can get you on a regular exercise program, get you feeling like you did when you were a youngster, and maybe it's easier to quit smoking. But these habits have to be examined. Right now, it is not. Again, it's not willy-nilly. It's not about lucky. You know, visit a nursing home, visit an old folks home, visit your parents, your relatives, or just visit and look around and see what you see. Not everyone there has neglected, but many of them will tell you that they did neglect. If they had it to do again, maybe a better diet is a smart thing. Exercising on a regular basis, yes. If I had it to do again, you have it to do today. Yeah, the best medicine is what? The best medicine is prevention. I say it a lot of times.
Yes.
Prevention is the best medicine. So to the extent you feel young right now, I'd like you to hold on to it. And if we can help you to turn it around, I want to help. To the extent that you want assistance with it, absolutely. The perfect client for anti-aging is someone who already understands that this is the proper thing to do. If you just need a little tune-up with your strength training, or just need a little bit of a dial-in on how to organize your nutrition, this is the perfect client for the Anti-Aging Academy. And anyone who wants to have the assistance, glad to do it. Yeah, it's a good question.
When you say anti-aging, then some people may say, I look at myself as I'm heading for 70s. And do I really want to live past a comfortable life of 90? How long can I be if I work with Coach Baker? And how long can I live? I think 90 is just good enough for me, or 100. Coach, are you saying you can help us extend to about 150? Or are you saying that when in our age, no matter what age, you can help us live better, well, and fit?
Okay, so the answer is B. You answered the question already. Okay, so if you feel good and you are without disease right now, this is what we're trying to maintain. Anti-aging, to live to 200, this is not the goal. There are many people, scientists, and are working on these kind of things. Many of their methods are artificial. I recommend proper exercise, proper supplementation, proper nutrition, proper rest. And so the idea is to live very, very well for as long as you do live. And we have the potential, physically, we have the potential to live past 100 and 110, 120. The potential is there. You have to do a lot of things correctly, and to the extent you can, then you should. But it's really, you want to live very well right now, disease-free right now, and this is the best you can do.
Coach, I could keep you on this show forever just to be on my side and guide me through, because I want to live to about 120 or more. But I'm still glad I have you on my side. But is there something else that you want to share with our listeners that I didn't ask, that you feel that is important to take away from this show?
There are some things. I will ask this question. What are the things that you are definitely in control of that help you to move in the right direction to live very, very well? Okay, easy thing, your sleep schedule. Okay, you're in control of your sleep schedule. It needs to be a regular schedule. To bed, same time, up same time. Your brain likes it, your body likes it. So regular sleep, regular wake. Okay, and then there are nutritional supplements. Magnesium. Magnesium is a wonderful relaxing mineral. So taking that before bedtime can also help. There are herbs called adaptogens. Maybe the original adaptogen is ginseng. Ginseng has a great reputation for helping the body to adapt to stress. Ashwagandha has become very popular lately as a adaptogen. What are the things you are in control of? And then again, I said it in the middle of the show, it's worth saying again, count your blessings. I need you to look at your life and understand how good you actually have it. Go out and be of assistance to someone else. Okay? These are the things that that make for a long life. It helps for today. And if you have a long life, I'm so happy for you.
And Coach, so again, what I'm hearing, your attitude towards everything, health, nutrition, has a lot to do with a whole lot of stuff.
Absolutely. And I want to say this as well. When we talk about stress, there is those three phases, but in between is what I want to talk about right now. You have the alarm phase, and then the resistance phase. Resistance is really your adjustment. What I need to understand on a regular basis, I want the listeners to understand, between the alarm and your response to the alarm is a space. And in that space, you get to choose how to respond. That's where you're free. That's where you can grow. Okay? Your response in between the alarm and then what happens next. There's a space in there. Okay? That tells me that a lot of stress is simply our perception. Okay? How you perceive. Why do people risk their life to move to the United States? When's the last time anybody as a listener risked their life to come to the United States? So that is stressful. So what we are dealing with is perception, and we can perceive, we can choose to determine that whatever we're going through is a learning experience. Yeah? I remember being a youngster, my first exposure to American football. That was stressful. I'm going, holy, that's a lot of work. How do people do this? And so you do it for 2 or 3 weeks, and suddenly it's normal. Whatever you're dealing with, you were dealing with it yesterday, you will deal with it tomorrow. Not really stressful. We can do a lot better with perceiving our situation. Number one, for the blessings that we have, but number two, you need a game plan. There are really not that many surprises. There are surprises, but we need to be a lot more prepared, a lot more ready to be agile and make the adjustment. And this adaptation is people are anxious and not actually stressed. But yeah, in between the alarm and the response, there is a choice. And that choice is a lot about your perceptions. I think that if the listeners understand this, we will go a long way to control stress.
Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor to have you here again on Empowerment.
Always a pleasure to talk to Tunde Obaze. Always.
I appreciate you, brother. I think it's just even some healing properties to your words. So until next time, I say, keep that fire burning within you and don't let any cold vibe quench your fire. And I see, Mr. Baker, you just lit my fire. Until next time, folks, I say thank you for joining us on Empowerment Radio, and empower everybody you meet on the way.